So let's talk about spring projects. So welcome to my vaguely organised craft room. Regular viewers will notice that it's a little less vague than it was previously. Still a work in progress, but we're getting there. Progress is progress, as they say. Now, today we're going to be having a little bit of a talk about things, project ideas that we might want to be looking at moving into spring, and we're going to start with some wearables. So I'm going to be looking at the computer because that's where I've got the information. All of the project ideas that I'm going to give examples of, I will put links to down below. They will be Ravelry links, but I will also put the designer's name and the project name in there as well if you're not using Ravelry as your normal pattern source. Hopefully you'll be able to find somewhere online that that designer sells their stuff other than there, if that's your preference, or at least something similar to what I come across, because these are just ideas and concepts rather than specifically patterns that I would necessarily recommend or so on. I haven't made any of these previously, and I don't think there's any designers in there that I've worked from before either. So let's take a look. Let's start with garments. Okay, so in this little group of tabs, because I've just discovered how to do that on Chrome, let's start with the Cold Spring Cocoon, which is by Jane Wittenheimer. So this is a throw-over type of garment. It's quite a long length. It's got this interesting ruching detail on the side, these cute little sleeves and stripe up the arm. So this is a knitting project and it's worked in a bulky yarn. So some sort of shruggy type wrap type thing. I'm also thinking the cocoon cardigan by Toku Tiku might be a good one as well. For those of you that aren't aware, I'm taking part in her Sideways Along Cal at the moment. Actually, the project I'm working on for that would suit this category of garments too. It's the Tanny Tank Top. So projects I knit from side to side rather than your traditional up and down type method. So yeah, so this is a similar sort of vibe to the cocoon cardigan there, and also to the shrug hugger that I knit a few years ago by Knitting Expat. So yeah, the Cold Spring Cocoon by Jane Wittenheimer. So it's something you could just sort of throw over the top of whatever you're wearing. Cool spring evenings, cool summer evenings, and for those of you who are Antipodean and heading into the autumn winter, this would also work quite well for that autumnal weather too. So sort of a multi-season type project. There are a few projects listed on Ravelry if people have already made them. Some with photos, so you do get a bit of a sense of what it actually looks like on scrolling through them. So yeah, it is quite a long length, which is interesting, and yeah, some interesting shape details to that one. Okay, so next up we have the Spring Sun Mandala Vest. Quite a classic crochet project. So you start from the centre of the back, work a mandala, and then add on the rest of the cardigan shaping. I have made a mandala crochet cardigan before. It was a much shorter length. Didn't have some of the details like the collar detail on this one. So again, this is down to the back of the knees, good sort of throw over garment, just to add a bit of a flourish really to your spring outfits. A little bit of warmth, not a huge amount of warmth, crochet being a bit holier and having no sleeves. There's going to be a little bit more access to you for the breeze and what have you. This is an Aran weight project and it has been super popular by the look of it. We've got a couple of hundred projects made. I do keep coming across this one, haven't taken the dive and made a start of it, but yeah, you can see it's been made several times in various different colour combinations, quite successfully by the look of it. So some of them, the collar detail looks almost like a hood, so I wonder if a few people have adapted it to make a hood out of that section. Certainly something you could do. Bit of maths, work it out. So yeah, so that's a nice, interesting one. As I say, I do keep seeing this when I'm looking for spring summer projects, but I haven't taken the plunge and cast this one on. My third garment project for you is a spring lantern cardigan. This is another crochet project, and this is on a fingering or sock weight yarn, so 4-ply. So a much lighter weight garment and quite lacy in nature. So it's like a mesh type fabric. on this one. So again, it's a slightly longer length, not as long as the previous two, just kind of to mid thigh length, which is great for throwing over things, again, cooler evenings, or just to add a bit of pizzazz to your wardrobe. Hopefully I'm not scrolling too quickly actually. So there's a few different varieties visible on the main page for that one. This is by Fran Mori, and again, a small number of projects, so you can have a look and see how other people have managed. Now, the main project page doesn't have the cardigan on like a body, whereas some of the projects do, so you get a sense of how it hangs, how it fits there, which is always nice. So yeah, quite a classic long line cardigan, but a lighter weight one than some of the others, and then the cardigans that you'd be working on through like autumn and winter and the colder months. A couple more to take a look at. This I thought was quite a classic pattern, very wearable, very casual. So yes, summer evenings, spring evenings, down by the beach, get your roller skates out, that kind of thing. This is the Spring League Sleeveless Hoodie by Alexandra Tavel. So this is a worsted weight project, and it's a knitted project. Again, very classic lines, nice hood detail on there, nice little split hem down the bottom, kind of 80s vibes with the sleeveless hoodie thing. You've got drawstring detail at the neckline, and also the classic like X that you see at the neckline on a lot of sweatshirts and so on. So yeah, quite preppy, quite classic, quite cool looking. So yeah, that's a nice one to add to the list of options. And let's see if we've got any projects on. Yeah, a few projects for the sleeveless hoodie. To see it in different colour combinations. Oh, striped one. That's quite nice. So yeah, there are a few people who've made it. A few adapted it to have a kangaroo pocket in the front, pair of sleeves, that kind of thing. Nice unisex styling going on. Yeah, quite a few adaptations and modifications through adding things in and yarn choice and so on. So that's quite nice. Oh, I like the one with the numbers on as well. So yeah, quite a versatile base pattern there by the look of it. So certainly worth considering for the spring-summer wardrobe. And again into autumn, it would work well for that too. My second to last, my penultimate pattern is a classic poncho. Can't go wrong with poncho. Again, we're looking at crochet and we're looking at Aran weight. I do find that a lot of the crochet patterns are in the heavier weight yarns. I don't often see them in the fingering yarns, and not even in DK quite often, but that's fine. So this is the Spring Breeze Poncho by Brianne Maldin. There's not so many projects on this one, which I think is a bit of a shame, and not much to see in terms of finished items as well, and projects with photos. But it does look like quite a classic beach cover-up type pattern. So again, we've got mesh crochet type fabric, a few tassels on the bottom for a bit of classic style. So yeah, this would be nice for spring walks, and say beach cover up for those sea breezes. So yeah, classic poncho. My last garment project, not my last wearable, my last garment, is another crochet project. There's something about crochet and spring and summer. It sort of lends itself to those times of year, I find. I think it's the nature of the fabric, particularly in lighter weights. And this is one of those rare times where you find a crochet wearable project in a lace weight or a lighter weight line. So this is in a lace or 2-ply. Again, that's not that common, particularly for garments in crochet, as far as I'm aware. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't often see it. Really ought to stop swinging on my chair while I'm talking to you. That must be quite distracting. I'll do my best to stop that. So this is Spring Flower Cardigan by Susan's Family. So we've got no projects showing on the page at the moment, so I can't see other people having made it. It could be the lace weight putting people off, I'm not sure. But it's quite cute, quite pretty. So we've got some floral squares and more of a eyelet type pattern around the back of the garment, and this like scallopy detail, so it is rather pretty. So nice with a pair of jeans to fancy them up a bit for a brunch date or something, but also suitable for throwing on with a skirt for an evening event if that's your vibe. So yeah, so that's my garment project to show you for spring summer inspiration. But then again, like I say, not my only wearables. There are some classic spring summer wearable things that you can make. I'm thinking accessories, I'm thinking socks. So let's go to the socks first in this lovely pink tab group. Let's close the garments one down if we can. Is it going to let me? Yes. All new tricks. Okay, so socks. Let's go just a few sock patterns for you. I was quite drawn to colourwork patterns for spring summer socks. So let's start with the Blossoming Spring by Knit Therapy by Lucy. So we've got this floral pattern. It's like a field of flowers ready for picking, working its way up the top of the sock, up the top of the foot of the sock and up the leg, which has left this lovely striped sole effect, as it's carrying the colours across the bottom. So not going to be stranding all the way across. There'll be quite short floats there, if at all, really, because it's pretty much stitch on stitch by the look of it. So yeah, I thought those were rather pretty. Wouldn't take too long to work up, being colourwork. It's a fairly straightforward design, so it should be quite memorisable. You're only using one contrast colour at a time by the look of it. So yeah, I think they'd be quite a nice pair to do. I would check your gauge quite carefully if you're doing colourwork socks. Consider going up a needle size or two. Consider going up a stitch count. So yeah, check your gauge. You can do that once you've started the sock, to make sure that it's the right gauge for the pattern, so that you can actually get it over your heel. If you check it quite early on into the colourwork pattern, maybe after the first repeat, second repeat, it's not too much to rock back if you need to, but it's enough to be able to say, am I roughly in line? Am I way off? Am I going to actually be able to wear this sock when it is finished? So that's going to hold true for any colourwork sock. My second sock pattern to show you is the Spring Rabbit socks. So again, colourwork. This is by Renard and Dormy. I hope I said that right. Not entirely sure. So again, a rather sweet little colourwork design. So we've got stripes on the feet, and then this ring of rabbits running around the ankle. So yeah, rather sweet, rather classic spring Eastery type design. And you could even just do the leg and have them as boot toppers if you want something Eastery but you're in colder weather. Do them longer. Nice spring colours. Obviously spring motif on the socks. But yeah, if you can't be bothered to do the full sock, boot cuffs. Not so great for those of us who are heading into warmer weather, but for those of you heading into cooler weather, maybe. Well, you probably get away with boots in the UK for a while longer yet. We're not. We had hailstones today. It's not the warmest spring I've ever had. Next sock pattern for you is a stitch pattern rather than a colourwork pattern. So this is Spring Flowers Socks by Melesnam. Again, not sure if I'm saying that correctly, because it's hard to tell sometimes. So this time we're looking at an eyelet lacy pattern to create like a floral motif all over the foot and leg. So you don't have to worry quite so much about gauge. Your usual sock gauge, sock needles combination will work. And these have been knit a few times before, so you can see examples of colourways that people have chosen for them. But yeah, rather sweet, classic lacy sock pattern. My final sock pattern for you is the Spring Blossom socks, which is another colourwork pattern, this time by Suzanne Vetterkind. And there's options in this one. So if we just open this picture larger, you can see we've got the option to do a rib across the foot below the colourwork if you wanted to. I like how this one's done there. The one on the far right as I'm looking at it, the grey sock. I like the way they're on the gradient on the floral pattern there. So that's a rather sweet colourwork around the leg of the socks. And then we've got here, I wonder if that's duplicate stitch for this little motif that's showing through the Mary Janes that she's wearing in this photo. So that's rather sweet. We've got quite a few projects there as well. So let's have a little peek. So we've got them with the flowers repeated on the toe for a few of them. Somebody's taken the stitch pattern and made a bear hat, that's cute. So yeah, quite a bit of variety. Again, lots of examples in the projects page for that pattern. Just going to little squiz. Yeah, it doesn't say about the flower on the foot, but I do wonder if that's duplicate stitch, because obviously you wouldn't want long threads and intarsia in the round. Not great. So yeah, rather sweet pair of socks there. So let's take a little look at some spring accessories then. There's just a couple of spring accessories. They're both shawls. You could of course do bags and bandanas and all sorts for spring wear. But these are the two that sort of grabbed my eye as I was scrolling, as you do, through things. So first up we have the Spring Allegro shawl, which is a crescent-shaped lace shawl by Anna Victoria. So knitted project, fingering weight, as a lot of shawls are these days. There's a beaded version here as well. So this is rather pretty. I like the way it's done in the gradient yarns as well. That is quite effective for a crescent-shaped shawl and for lace shawls in general. So a few examples as well of where other people have made them, so you can get some ideas for colours. There's quite a few people have made it. It seems to be quite a successful pattern in terms of people are making the thing that looks like the picture on the pattern, which is always reassuring. And the other shawl that I wanted to take a look at, this is going to be a heavier weight shawl than the last one, because it isn't lace. It is done in the same weight of yarn. It is a fingering or a sock weight 4-ply yarn project, but it's a mosaic project. So it's not got the openness, the airiness of a lace project. So much more sort of solid shawl. Works well in a variety of different colourways as per the examples shown on the main pattern page. And again, there's quite a few projects where people have made it up, so that seems to be quite popular. I seem to be working well. People are having success with it, so that's good. And yeah, some interesting use of colour in some of these varieties for the Midnight in Spring shawl. A few people have renamed theirs based on their colourways, which is great. And being a less airy shawl, this would be good for autumn and winter as well, for those of you going into the colder months. Shawls are quite handy in the spring and the summer, just to sort of throw over your shoulders when those colder hours start creeping in. So yeah, so that's all the wearables that we've got to look at. Now I do have some other project ideas to show you, but I don't want to take up too much of your time, so I will be back next week with some more housey decor type spring potential projects for you. So thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. In the meantime, there's this one here that may be of interest to you, and I will see you soon. But until then, happy crafting and bye-bye for now.